Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Steven. Welcome back. Okay, so you guys may or may not know, but the actor Denzel Washington did an interview. And in this interview, he was asked about more or less, what's been going on within and concerning the black community. And I'm going to read through this article where Denzel Washington gives his point of view. And I'm just going to talk about some of the comments that he um, makes in the interview because they're pretty interesting, actually. So let's jump into this, okay? The title of the article is Denzel Washington on Black Incarceration. Quote unquote, I can't blame the system. It starts in the home. All right. So right there, that's the title. So right there, okay, what is Denzel saying here? All right. Right. Denzel stressed the importance of having a positive father figure in the home while speaking recently about the mass incarceration of black males. So I feel like, even before we get into this article, I feel like Denzel Washington is sort of taking the easy way out of this question that he was asked, or about this topic that he was asked to speak on. And also, you have to think, why is he being asked about this topic in particular? Because you notice, they tend to ask a lot of like the black celebrities about these, hot button issues concerning black people, which, okay, on the surface, you're like, well, they're black, so why wouldn't they be asked? But you don't see them asking, like, say, Jennifer Lawrence this same question, right? You don't see them asking Ryan Reynolds this same question, right? Channing Tatum, right? The white people that they do ask these questions are people who tend to already have an opinion on things anyway, or who perhaps are paid to give their opinion. Like, the people, like the women on The View, for instance, are people at Fox News or CNN, right? Those are the white people they tend to ask. It's very orchestrated, pretty much. That's where I'm getting at. It's extremely orchestrated. All right, so let's get into this article. The Oscar-winning actor told a reporter for the Giro, whatever, during a special advanced screening in New York of his film, Roman J. Israel, Esquire, that positive change in the black community starts in the home. Okay. Quote unquote, this is from Denzel Washington himself. If the father is not in the home, the boy will find a father in the streets, he said. Quote unquote. I saw it in my generation and every generation before me, and everyone since. Okay. If the streets raise you, then the judge becomes your mother and the prison becomes your home, he added. So white supremacy is like, just okay, all right, Negro. All right, they're like, okay, all right, because this is kind of like more or less white supremacy, the system of white supremacy, I should say, testing him. Okay, what do you got to say, right? Because it's like, really, when they ask black celebrities these questions, they're testing them, I think. Just like how TLC, well, technically it was T and C, but TLC was asked about Black Lives Matter and how Chili cooned out over that question, right? How Shaq was asked about this and cooned out, right? How Steph Curry was asked about this, right? But did not coon out, right? You notice, be aware. But I feel like Denzel Washington in his response is sort of taking the easy way out. While I do think that what he's saying does have a lot of validity, however, if you do the research on some of these people who are getting shot down in the streets like dogs, particularly these black men, why were they shot down in the streets to begin with, though? It's not like they were doing any type of like illicit activity a lot of the times. It was just them minding their own business being accosted by the police. And perhaps them having a back and forth with a police officer that went left, or perhaps just the police officer being extremely aggressive, right? So I feel like that part of the situation isn't being answered. So even if you do come from a, a quote unquote good household, a two-parent household, right? This can still happen to you, right? It can still happen to you, though. But I do feel like he has a point, but I feel like it's kind of, to an extent, leaning towards victim blaming. I can see that. It's like, well, and even if you are doing illicit activity, you still are entitled to due processing, though, right? If these police officers can get due processing, then these people being arrested can also get due processing. All right. Next in this article, according to the New York Daily News, Mr. Washington expanded on his answer when pressed by reporters, saying, quote unquote, "It starts with how you raise your children. If a young man doesn't have a father figure, he'll go find a father figure. Quote unquote. So, I can't blame the system," he said. Quote unquote. "It's unfortunate that we make such easy work for them." Okay, Denzel putting it all on us now. Like the system ain't fucked up. Knowing all that we know, the black experience within this country, all that we know about this system that we're in, he can't put any of the blame on the system. None of it. Now, I'm not saying the system is like a totally 100%, although I could. But I don't want to just I don't want to alleviate responsibility from the people who do actually do crimes and who deserve to be incarcerated, right? And even low-key, some of the people who do crimes and deserve to be shot down. To be fair, there are some people who I'm like, okay, like I wouldn't go hard for them because based on their like rap sheet and what they did, their police record, I'm like, this isn't someone I should be going hard for and advocating for strongly out loud, right? Some of these people do kind of just need to be purged from our community and also society. But I feel like those people are in the extreme minority, though, or at least the minority. But I know why Denzel Washington is saying these things, because basically he knows he's in Hollywood, so he's got to stay on script, right? He's an actor, so he knows about staying on script. And also he knows the consequences of when you go off script as an actor, but also as a black person in Hollywood, right? When you go off script. Look what they're doing to Colin Kaepernick, right? He went off script, right? Look what happened to Tommy Loren. She went off script one time and she white. I mean, that's definitely a case of when bad things happen to bad people. So I'm not like, oh, like, but that, just taking the situation out of context, that is messed up, though. That, you went off script one time and you just lost your whole thing, But putting it in context, it's like, okay, that's what you deserve. Because we know how you get down, All right. So next, Mr. Washington, who played civil rights activist Malcolm X in the Oscar-nominated 1992 film Malcolm X, said it was the young people he met during the filming for that movie that inspired him to stay optimistic about change. Quote unquote, "I remember when I was doing the movie Malcolm X and we were doing a speech up at Columbia. We had a bunch of students from Columbia," he told the Gyro, or Shiro, whatever. Quote unquote. In between takes, we were talking about things and how tough the world is, and I was like, quote unquote, again, with everything we're talking about, does it make you want to give up? He said. And they were like, oh, no, 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 we're going to change it, he recalled. I was like, oh, I'm the cynic. Okay, so I don't know if this was a group of black students at Columbia University or just a group of students, because I don't remember him saying black in particular. Something to note. That is something. Like, we got to be like lawyers in the court of law. Like, every single word has to be scrutinized. Well, you know, maybe not lawyers, but, you know. So he goes on to say, so I pray that young people never lose that fire. Young people. Not young black people, but just young people. Which, okay, yeah, we do need, this is a situation that we should have everyone's support on, like all groups of people support on, but as we know, black people do not have allies. We don't have allies as far as like groups of people, right? We may have allies on an individual level, but as far as like a specific group of people, we're alone on our own. Okay. And he adds, and needless to say, there's a lot for them to work on. And Dan Gilroy, I think that's like how you say it. I say, so in Roman J. Israel, Esquire, Mr. Washington, 62 years old, plays an idealistic criminal defense attorney and legal savant who goes to work for a big Los Angeles law firm after his small firm partner, a civil rights icon, dies of a heart attack. And that's the end of this article. So what do you guys think of the information that I presented? Or that this article presented and that I read? You think that Denzel Washington may have a point? You think that Denzel Washington is straight up cooning for a paycheck? Or do you think that is sort of maybe in between? You know, sort of in that, like, you know, not quite here, not quite there. All right. I'll give my opinion and my take on this. I personally feel like Denzel Washington is saying what he needs to say in order to keep his job, or to keep getting work, because he knows he's old. He's 62 years old, so he knows what's up, right? He's just a little younger than my own mom, just a little bit younger, right? So I know he was born in like sometime in the 50s. All right, so I know he knows what's up with this. I'm sure he has seen a lot of things, especially as a black man in the United States. Okay, but I also know that he wants to keep work, even though I'm sure he has money, but he probably doesn't want to end up like Colin Kaepernick, right? You don't want to end up getting blackballed from Hollywood on speaking on some things. So I think now the question is, do you speak up on things, or do you just kind of like protect yourself? Should you go hard for your community? Okay, I'm gonna put it like this, okay? A little while ago, about sometime in July, I had a live stream. I did a live stream, okay? In that live stream, the subject of, you know, advocacy and speaking out on black issues came up. One person said that, well, rather, somewhere along the lines, something came up to the point where I said in the live stream that, oh, you know, I don't want to give out too much of my information just in case like someone wants to try and contact my employer and get me fired, right? And I have heard of that actually happening. There is a YouTube user who, has spoken out on white supremacy, being very blunt, being very straightforward, you know, taking it straight on, not mincing words, just keeping it 100, right? One of her, coworkers saw the video, told the boss, showed the boss. She getting a call 11 o'clock at night, getting fired. All right, that's a real thing. All right, that does happen. So within that live stream, right, this subject came up and I explained that whole situation, and someone said, yeah, that's why they don't post YouTube videos, right? And that got me to thinking, and I just thought this, I didn't say it in the live stream, but I'm like, okay, maybe this is how these Hollywood celebrities feel. Like, they don't want to lose their job and their positions, things like that. So they tend, when asked about these questions, they tend to give, like, the PC answers versus the real deal answers, right? And I know that sometimes we feel disappointed in the black celebrities who don't speak up on these issues, and we feel some type of way. We feel maybe angry, betrayed, feel like they're just using us, right? But then, and those are valid feelings to have. But I'm like, okay, let's flip it around. Let's put it on us though. Like, what are we doing too, right? Because I do think there's some room to kind of like examine ourselves, like us regular folks too. Like, are we willing to lose our jobs to speak up on these type of issues, right? And as well, like, some of the employers that we work for may have political leanings that are, perhaps anti-black. Some of our employers, may have voted for Trump, right? One of my employers did. Did I quit my job? No, because I'm not in the position to do that, right? One, that's, one reason, to be real, right? I'm not in the position to do that, And of course, it's like, well, there's some things to take into account too. It's like, well, even if I do quit my job, does that really help the situation at all? They still voted. It's not going to take back their vote, right? And to be fair, it was just, perhaps 2 votes from the owners of the company, right? All right. See, when it's you in the seat, it's different. Right? It's different. Like, well, I can't just give up my job, right? So that's why I won't go totally hard on Denzel Washington, even though he's in a different position than we are. He rich. We ain't rich. We regular folk. So, and also I never, while I do have my personal feelings about Denzel Washington, I will say that I never viewed him as like a coon. He didn't do like the coon thing in Hollywood, right? He didn't. Well, I won't go into it, but he ain't really coon out on film. And perhaps Training Day, you could argue, was kind of maybe coonish, but I'll let that slide. Okay, I'll let that slide. But I'll say that I never viewed him as a, just straight up wild ass coon on the loose, And we'll say, I do, while I have my personal feelings, I can say that I do respect him, you know. Yeah. So yeah, but I do. While I am a little disappointed in the comments that he made, I do think they do have truth in them, and I do think that everyone in the community needs to be held responsible. Black males, definitely, because I do feel like black males, in general, in the community, are kind of coddled, especially in comparison to black females in the community. And I feel like that coddling doesn't help. So on one hand, I can kind of to a little extent get behind the comments that he has made, right? But on the other hand, it just seems like it's just totally putting all the blame on the victim too, which I can't get behind that, right? And putting it's just like, oh, it's just all our fault, and if we just, put our pants up and act right, it's just everything else will fall into place, where that's not necessarily true, right? Because there have been some, very respectable Negroes getting shot down in the streets too. All right. But this video is long enough, so I'm going to bring this video to a close, to an end. But thank you very much for watching. Definitely, please let me know what you guys think, because it's, I'm kind of torn, honestly. I'm kind of like on one hand leaning this way, on the other hand leaning that way, in the middle. I'm kind of torn, but I think overall, I think if he had put a little bit of blame on the system, at least a little bit, I could kind of be okay, or at least call out both aspects of the situation, because I do think it kind of partially is on like the parents and the home you come from, but also if you do come from good folk, the system's still screwed up though, right? The system is still not in your favor, right? So ultimately, I wish he would have called out both aspects of the situation, not just on black men and their home environments, because again, it's victim blaming. That's when it turns into the victim blaming. But thanks for watching. Leave your comments in the comments section. Really interested to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for watching. Adios and goodbye for now.